There's a stat that is going around that there is more slavery today than there was in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. Is that the case? And after seeing this movie, probably. Chase Lee Hockey here at the Blue Futon reviewing City of Dreams. So what is this movie about? Pretty simple premise. You have a kid that was from Mexico, and I'm pretty sure his dad probably sold him for like $10,000 to work at a sweatshop in Los Angeles. And what he is doing in the sweatshop is building creating these dresses that are, I'm going to guess, like fake Gucci, fake Louis Vuitton dresses for these, alleyway stores. Since I've never really lived in a big city like LA and things like that. So apparently there's these big like alleyways where you just go and buy these cheap knockoffs. And, that's what this kid is making. However, abuse is going to occur. Will this cop get involved? Who is behind the scenes, and how much dirt does politicians and some of these cops just turn the other cheek? Because they get that fucking money and votes. So, to like this film, it is damn good. I won't lie, I checked the Rotten Tomato scores and what people were saying, and I'm going to disagree with a lot of the critics with this one. A lot of the critics are saying, oh, it's amateur filmmaking, or it's a bad representation of the Latino community. Okay, here it goes, right? If it's Latino actors, Latino producers, Latino fucking writers, Latino directors, and Latinos working behind the scenes, I don't think they're stereotypes because they know something is happening. That's my frustration with a lot of these movies, is where you have a ethnicity making a movie about their own ethnicity. And then either other ethnicities or the same ethnicities are saying that's stereotypical. At a point, if you're trying to tell a true story of something that is happening to a specific person, it's not stereotypical at that time, especially even when, I'm going to not say this guy's a child actor, but at the very end of the movie, he did a thing saying, like, I really liked what I did with this movie because of XYZ. It shows the underbelly of how, America is the American dream, and for some people, it's not. Absolutely. I do feel like there's a caveat with that, though, of like, yes, it's in America. It's pretty shitty, but it happens everywhere in the fucking world. China, Brazil, Africa, European countries. So it's like, yes. And I think that's a big overarching image or, message. There's always going to be evil in this world. Can we squash all of it? Absolutely not. There's always going to be someone to, squish or kick down the little man. And that's what you got to figure out, like Nancy Pelosi, always kicking down the little man. She's like, yeah. Especially, okay, and then, I'm not trying to get political, but this movie does talk about, the illegal immigration and migration in California. And apparently now they're going to try to pass a law where illegal immigrants get $150,000 to buy a home in California. So, that only raises the prices of California because the person selling it knows that they're going to get that money back from the government. So, it's basically a wash. And number two, do people not remember what happened in 2008? Do people not remember what happened in 2008? People are so fucking idiots. Anyway, when talking about this film, though, so another error that people were saying was amateur filmmaking. No. I loved the cinematography of this film. I loved what he did with some of the chase sequences and how he made it personal. Instead of, yes, some movies I like the scope, right, where you see everything happening. Here, you do see things happen in the background, but this really focuses on the human element and the human just tearing the soul apart of these people's faces. And that's what it does. Even with the cop that wants to do something good, but he is getting dogged by the people higher ups, basically saying, if you do this, you're going to be suspended. And he's like, look, this kid, I have kiddie porn, I have this, and they're just like, walk away or you're suspended. And there's funny scenes with him and the girl cop, and the girl cop is kind of ignoring everything, but she's finally realizing, wait a minute, maybe I need to get off my phone and see what is actually happening in the world in front of me. And I do think that's a message that the director and writer was trying to do. But no, the actual cinematography of just showing this, I loved. There's also scenes of torture in this film. And people are calling it, oh yeah, another third one, torture porn. If you're saying this is torture porn, but also is Saw, those are completely different movies. This is like people actually getting abused, probably realistically, and the imagery happening, while Saw is like, oh, get femur out of a goddamn bone, which is completely different. So that's another reason where I'm like, God, some people that review this film need to like realize that this is not torture porn. It's real. Sex trafficking happens. People get abused. People die in these situations. Like, remember like that truck in San Antonio with like 70 illegal immigrants that were just like dead? Like, that's torture. Like, there's things like that. I think people are just so on cloud nine sometimes of like these city elites that are like, nothing bad happens. Nothing bad happens. Nothing bad happens. And they think if something bad happens, their way of protesting is marching the streets and then littering and being like, climate change. Let's just throw, oh, I missed the trash can. Climate change. I missed the trash can. You're just like, the double standards is, ooh, I hate double standards in this world. I truly, truly do. There's a good chase sequence at the very end that starts in a factory that ends to the cop. It's got to have been a 7 to 10 minute oneer. Yes, it wasn't a oneer because you could tell where the cuts were, because of course they couldn't do it through and throughout. But it was a damn thrilling chase sequence of going through these crowds, who this guy is actually like, interacting with, of, like this guy that's chasing him. He's just like, going through dressing rooms, and it was very well shot. And so that's why I don't understand why people are saying amateur filmmaking with this one. I just don't see it. If this is his first feature film, I don't know how, this is not amateurish at all. He knew exactly what he was doing. So that really bothered me. So this is about 25-30% in Spanish, while 70%-ish in English, which I wasn't expecting that. When watching, I only think I watched the trailer once, and it was the whole soccer thing, which is very interesting, because yes, the whole soccer thing is what he thought he was going to do in America, but like the trailer, I wouldn't say is deceiving, but I'm okay with that, because I'm glad I didn't know that much about this cop storyline of getting involved and what is actually going to occur. I found something very interesting at the end. There's good gun placement. There's one scene where this girl, she's basically pointing the gun, right? And the cop is like, there's a runner. Of course, the cop probably shouldn't have ran in front of the guns, but she goes like this. And that's smart placement, because if the gun does go off, down, up, because you don't want to go up because of what comes down the bullet. So I noticed that in the film, and I was like, that is smart placement, with the director actually saying to the actress, do that. Now, I really did like that. Of course, you could say some negatives are, because this tells a strong story. Maybe some pacing of the soccer scenes. You're just like, okay, interesting. I know some, like I said, there is some tense moments where maybe, because you could say they want to focus on the other parts. Maybe I do want to, okay, yeah. I'll say one negative is I want to focus on the dirty politicians, the dirty cops that are willing to turn the other cheek. Because at a point, it's like, ugh, that disgusts me. If you, it's not just politicians and cops. Like, there's stories of like women getting raped in subways, and people just like, I don't see anything. And people are just so scared to like stand up, be called racist and things like that. Which, yes, we're in that society where if someone from the other race does something to the other one, but that one race that you are doing it to did something really, really bad, you're still a racist. And shit like that, where, I don't know, it's frustrating of where we're at today, which is, we're pussifications. But overall, City of Dreams blew me away. I was not expecting to, I'm going to say this is not a movie to enjoy, but this was a thrilling, just underbelly film that everyone should watch, and just realize when you go in those clothing stores, like, what are you actually buying? Like, at least like this stuff right here, I buy from reputable sources. Like, this is Roosevelt. Great shirts. I'm not sponsored by them, but I have so many of these damn shirts. I get so many compliments. So now it just makes me want to go in the store and look and be like, where is this actually made? So City of Dreams will receive a 4.5 out of 5 Futons, which equals at 90%. So let's see the critics and user scores gave this one. So critics were at a 60% with 15 of them, fewer than 50 for the audience score. No critic consensus. I'm sorry. 60%. All right, so we have audience review, 5 out of 5. Some guy gave it a 0.5. Then we have a 5 out of 5, a 3 out of 5. I don't like having to read subtitles. Okay. 5 out of 5, 2 out of 5. The violence overshadowed the story, makes the movie unwatchable. And I think that's what people like when I cuss in these reviews. Sometimes I say fuck, shit, balls. I get comments saying I don't like the cussing. Welcome to the real world. Violence. Children are getting abused, and you're uncomfortable watching it. But what about the people experiencing it? And that is where the double standards are the fucking bubble living really grinds my gears. 90, 60. Chase Slack here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know with the Butantopia. You Blue Futoners, thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll watch State tomorrow, week from now, month, or year from now, every single one of you. Peace and love, peace and love. Yeah. Get out of your bubble, people, and realize what is actually happening behind the curtain.